Testing, testing. 有聲啦。Okay, so we are moving on to the final part, part 6 of our ADAS video, in which this time we are going to look at the application of ADAS when it comes to fiscal policy and monetary policy. Now, if you remember in part 5, we talk about inflationary gap and deflationary gap. How the market would adjust itself without the government's help to restore into, let's say, the long run equilibrium from short run, right? Now, this time we are going to look at another thing. Now, this time, instead of letting the public to do, letting the market to do its own thing, the government is going to carry out some policies to hopefully help the economy restore into long run equilibrium, or sometimes to push up the long run equilibrium. Okay, sometimes. Now again, we will talk more in detail when it comes to chapter 22. Okay, now here I only get part of chapter 22, the easy part, into here, the parts that are relevant to chapter 17 to chapter 18. Okay, so let's not waste time. Here, let's look at here. You see this table? I've given you fiscal policy and monetary policy. Now, don't worry about the definition. Here, you just need to know monetary policy means manipulating money supply, while fiscal policy is any policy that is not monetary policy. 好似講完等於冇講啦，係咪嚇？總之啦，透過影響 money supply 嘅係 monetary policy，而唔係透過影響 money supply 嘅咪 fiscal policy 咯。Okay, now to make it simple, let's start with monetary policy. Now here, I've given you four different so-called the monetary policies. Okay, now remember, monetary policies most of the time carry out by central bank. Most of the time are carried out by central bank. Okay, 好嘛？中央銀行去做嘅。Now therefore, here, all four of them work with the same principle, exact same principle. Now, obviously, to make this table simpler, I only include one direction. The direction is that money supply in four of them all goes up. Now, obviously, it can go down. Sometimes they want to reduce money supply, but not increase money supply. Okay? Now, what happens when money supply increases? Then interest rate decreases. Interest rate decreases, it means the cost of borrowing would decrease. Then, if you remember, C and I would go up, meaning AD would go up. Okay, so you see, monetary policy, it only affects AD. It doesn't affect SRAS and LRAS. 嗱，唔關 short run AS 同 long run AS 㗎，得唔得？ It only affects AD. Okay, 好嘛？嗱 this is the principle for the four of them. Now, let's look at what are the four of them. Again, I've talked about that in chapter 19, but here, let's revise. First, printing money. 印錢咪多咗錢咯，唔講啦。Okay? Now, second, decreasing discount rates. Now, remember, discount rate is the rate of borrowing by banks from central bank. 原來係銀行同中央銀行借錢嘅 rate 啊。So let's see what happens. Happens like this. Now remember, banks, how do they make profit? They make profit most of the time by making loan. Now therefore, we have central bank, we have bank, and let's say we have Liu Chang. Okay, now the public. What happens? Now usually the bank would lend money to Liu Chang. Let's say 30% interest rate. 差唔多啦，信用卡差唔多咁嘅percent 㗎啦。Okay? Now, on the other hand, banks can also borrow from central banks. Here. Now usually, let's pretend it is 5%. Now do you see, through this process, borrowing from central bank and then lend out to me, they earn 25%, the differential, right? 係咪啊？有唔同啦，係咪？中間嘅差價啦。Now let's imagine discount rate decreased to 1%, but they lend out also 30%. Then what happens? You see, the profit would change to 29%. So you see, right? When discount rates decreases, profits would go up. Now, therefore, banks would borrow more to lend out. 係咪？佢會借多咗錢嚟到借俾我咯，唔係因為賺多咗錢啊嘛。Now, so you see immediately with discount rate decreasing, it actually encouraged banks to make more loan. In chapter 20, if you remember, more loan equals more money supply, credit creation, right? Same here, decreasing required reserve ratio. Now this one, if you want to know why, look at chapter 20. I'm not going to repeat it here. And finally, now instead of printing money, sometimes they would like to do some so-called open market purchase. Now you just need to remember, it means central bank would purchase bond from banks, right? Now remember, when they make purchase, they give out money. Now money supply, this guy, money supply, CP plus D, right? It does not include central bank. Now therefore, central bank giving more money, D would increase or CP increase depending on the perspective, right? 係咪？但係啦，我哋知道啦 ，money supply 都會多咗啦。Okay, so these are the four monetary policy. Remember, these monetary policy only affect AD. Okay, that's why monetary policy. In fact, if you remember from from our part 5, we say that moving AD would only have short run effect on output. Now, therefore, if you only carry out monetary policy, in fact, you cannot increase the performance of an economy in the long run, right? Now, let's talk about that more in chapter 22, not now. OK, 好嘛？嗱 ，monetary policy 啦。好，我哋去 fiscal policy. Now, let's move on to fiscal policy. Now, fiscal policy compared to monetary policy is much more complicated. Okay, because this time some policies would actually affect both AD, SRAS, and LRAS. And in fact, the first one is already the case, direct tax. Now, we obviously have not discussed what direct tax and indirect tax is for now, right? Let's leave it for chapter 22. 好嘛，22課先算啦。For now, you just need to remember, when we say direct tax, it means income tax or sometimes salary tax. You see, salary tax, profit tax, and property tax. These are the only three direct tax as of now. 嗱，直到而家咧，香港得呢三隻啫。Okay, these three are the only direct taxes in Hong Kong. Okay, now for simplicity reason, I only give you tax rate increase or tax allowance decrease. Allowance meaning 免稅額係嘛？ So if the allowance is lower, you need to pay more tax. Now for simplicity, I only go in one direction, but obviously you can just reverse all the things we learned, right? Now here first, when tax rate is higher, what happens? What happens is, let's say salary tax. 即係咩意思啊？返工少咗錢咯。 your disposable income would decrease, therefore C would decrease, meaning AD would drop. Just like that, right? 係咪啊？你少咗錢用啊嘛，咁咪 AD 少咗咯。Okay, now the more difficult thing is actually with SRAS and LRAS. Now, I just mentioned salary tax increase, meaning when you go to work, you are earning less, right? 你係咪賺少咗錢啊？ So, in other words, your incentive for working would be lower, or sometimes we call it the disincentive effect, meaning people would not be that hardworking when they work for both SRAS and LRAS. Okay, when they're not hardworking, or some of them even decided to quit the job and let's say go take a 綜援 CSSA something like that. Therefore, SRAS and LRAS may go down. Okay, possible. It is possible that because of disincentive effects, SRAS can go down, and LRAS may go down. Okay, 得唔得？嗱，呢個係最難嘅。So you see, right? Direct tax, it is so powerful since it affects both AD and AS. Now, therefore, you see, the government, when they try to improve an economy, or sometimes they say they need to so-called 扶貧救急，係咪？ In urgency, need to boost the economy. Usually, the first thing they do, they cut direct tax, salary tax. Sometimes they don't even take away any salary tax at all. Sometimes they say, hey, you don't need to pay tax for this, let's say for this season, okay, for this quarter, something like that. Why they usually target the so-called profit tax for this reason? Because it is so powerful. OK， 好嘛，非常之厲害嘅效果啊！嗱 ，compared to direct tax, indirect tax, which means non-salary tax, non-profit tax and non-property tax， 唔係呢三隻嘅，就係 indirect tax 啦。It's very cheap. OK， now the effect would only be like that. SRAS will be affected because remember, indirect tax, it is production cost. It is an increase in production cost. Now, when production cost increases, it means that our SRAS will drop. What about LRAS? Now, remember, obviously, we haven't talked about what is indirect tax, but remember, indirect tax works in a way that it affects price level. And by definition of long run, price level would not be affected. Would not affect long run, right? 係咪啊？記唔記得我哋前幾條片啊 ？Okay, in our third video, we talk about long run by definition would not be affected by price level. Now, therefore, long run AS no effect. What about AD? Now, AD, you really need to look at the question. OK 嗱，真係要睇題目先至知道㗎，好唔好啊？嗱 ，let's skip ahead and go to that question immediately. You see what I mean? It should be. Let's see which page. Yes, here. Let's go to page 22. Okay, let's go to page 22 here. Now. Oh, no, not page 22. It should be page 21, I think. Yes, page 21. Okay, now page 21, we have a question from sample paper. Okay, now here, let's look at what the sample paper asks for. Now, it says, increase in sales tax rate. Now, sales tax rate, obviously, this is an indirect tax because it is not salary, not profit, and not property. Okay, indirect tax may reduce the willingness to supply goods and services. Willingness to supply meaning AS decreases, and this question asks for short run, therefore SRAS decreases. Now, as well as their willingness to invest. When you see the word invest, excuse me, okay, when you see the word invest, you remember it would be I decreases, therefore AD also decreases. Okay, 得唔得？ So in the short run, what happens? Now let's look at here. Let's look at the explanation first. We know SRAS decreases. Obviously, this is an old question. In nowadays standard, it will only take up 5 marks at most. 一定係頂籠得5分啫，呢條唔會咁高㗎啦。SRAS decreases. It means price level would go up. Y would go down. Okay, we remember that. Now, what about AD? Now, we also know AD decreases. Now, therefore, price level decreases. Y also decreases. Now, look at here. So, what is the conclusion? The conclusion, we know that Y would definitely decrease. No problem, right? What about here? Price level. Price level is actually uncertain. Okay? Now, just like in your demand supply, whether it would increase or decrease depends it depends on the shift of AD versus SRAS. Okay? Now, if you want to be more specific, let's say if the drop in AD is bigger than the drop in SRAS, then the price level would decrease. 咦，咁熟口面嘅，咪你 demand supply 嘢咯 ？Exactly the same as your demand supply, right? Now, what about the diagram? Let's look at the diagram. It goes like this. This is our price level. This is our output level. AD curve. AD1. SRAS 1. Now, since our example, we specify 嗱，你中意可以倒轉嚟寫都得㗎，我冇所謂㗎，係嘛？It doesn't matter as long as it matches. Okay. Let's say decrease in AD is more than the decrease in SRAS. First of all, label them first. This is our price level 1. This is our output 1. Now, AD dropped by this much. AD2, SRAS drops a little bit, let's say. Then what happens? You see, price level decreases and Y also decreases. This diagram would match with the diagram, with the example we have. Okay? 得唔得？嗱，呢個就係 A part 啦。嗱 ，obviously this is a sample paper question. I don't think they're going to have such question in nowadays because you see there is no definite answer, and HKEA they absolutely hate it when they do not have absolute answer. 太難改啊啲卷，好嗎？ So what about part B? Part B it says, do you think central bank could stabilize the price level through monetary policy? Now, what it means by stabilize the price level? Now, because you see here, right? You see price level drops to price level 2. By stabilizing, we need to turn it back to here. Turn it back to price level 1, the original level, right? So, can they do something? Obviously, they can. 一定得㗎，係咪啊？ Obviously, they can do something, right? Now, remember, monetary policy, it moves the AD curve, 係咪啊？ So, how much do they move? We need the price level to reach here. Now, therefore, it should do something to boost AD and make it into AD3 so that the price level will back to price level 3. So what happens to output level? Output level obviously would go up to Y3 here, right? So what are the policies that can do so? Now just copy from notes. I'm not going to waste your time. Okay. Now again, this is not an important question. Let's not waste time here. Now let's go back to page 17. 我哋翻返嚟17版啦。Now question 17. No. Page 17, not question 17. Okay. Now we are talking about fiscal policy carried out by government, right? Now, therefore, one of the way they can control is actually by controlling their spending, right? Spending more, spending less, etc. Okay, so some common example: giving cash or giving more transfer payment. For example, let's say the fruit money, so 多啲生果金咯, transfer payment, basically to help the poor, right? So these two, how would it affect AD? Same, because YD increases, therefore AD would increases, right? Would go up. Now these two would not affect SRAS and LRAS, obviously, right? 係咪唔關公司事㗎嘛？嗱 ，unemployment benefit 失業救濟金啦。OK， now when we have more unemployment benefit 失業救濟金啊，咁發生咩事啊 ？Obviously YD increase 多到錢用啊嘛 ，AD also increase. Now but this time because unemployment benefit increases, what does that mean? People would be kind of encouraged to become unemployed. 因為點解失業收多咗錢，咁使唔使咁勤力揾工啊？唔使咯。Right? They do not need to find a job immediately, that urgently. Right? Now, therefore, it may have a so-called disincentive effect again. Okay? The incentive to look for job decreases. Therefore, AS, both short run and long run, may decrease again. Just like what we talked about in the tax rate section. Right? 係咪啊？好似鼓勵佢失業咁啊！嗱 ，finally, education and R&D. Now, remember, whenever you see these two words, it means that our productivity or technology goes up, meaning our LRAS would go up, right? Now, what about short run? Now, short run, it really depends on the question, right? Sometimes it affects, sometimes it doesn't. You really need to look at the question itself. Same for AD. Okay, now in fact, I would say AD would go up most certainly, but how it goes up is another matter. Whether because of G goes up or because of YD. Now, it really depends on how they do the spending. Now, don't worry. As we go to the question, you will understand what I mean. Now, finally, we have some international trade. For example, protectionism, limiting visitors. Those will not affect SRAS and LRAS, and it only affects NX. Okay, so you just see whether NX increase or decrease. Then you see AD would increase or decrease. 老師傅題目㗎係咪啊？嗱 ，for example, limiting visitor, it makes NX decreases. Okay, because visitors, this is an export of service. 係咪啊？少咗 export 啊嘛，咪 NX 下跌咯。嗱 depends. Okay. Now finally, population-related policies. Okay. Now here, think about it. Encouraging giving birth. What does that mean? It means that the population would go up. When we have more population, it means our C would go up. So AD would most likely go up. Now what about LRAS? Here, when we have more people, in the long run, we have more labor supply. 係咪多咗人做嘢啊？多咗人做嘢 ，LRAS would go up. What about short run? Now, it really depends on the question. again. Okay, so we have a quick look through the policies, okay, the theories behind the policy, the mechanism behind those policies. Now, why don't we go to the questions themselves to see how they are put into practice? Okay, now next page here. 2013, it says the government greatly increased tax allowance. Now, when you see this word, tax allowance, what is the immediate reaction, right? Immediately, you remember, 咦多咗免稅額喎 meaning we pay less tax, meaning we have more disposable income, 可以用嘅錢啦。Therefore, AD goes up. On continuing education, when you see education, you see productivity, labor skill would go up. Therefore, LRAS would go up. So, answer would be A, right? So you see, when we do questions, it basically comes down to how good you are at identifying those important keywords, important policies. Okay, so next one, let's see. Now, next one, which of the following policy can government introduce to reduce price level? First of all, we need price level to go down, and then we need unemployment level to go down, right? Now, what does that mean? Unemployment go down. It means Y would increase. Now, how come? Y is our output level, right? How do you make more output? By employing more people. So, when we have higher output level, it means lower unemployment level. Now, we need something that price level decrease, Y increase. Okay, some policy. Now, if you have a clear mind, you know the only way to achieve it is to increase AS, not AD, right? Because it goes in opposite direction. So, first one, raise discount rate. Now, whenever you see whatever rate goes up, right? It means AD goes down. AD goes down. What happens? Price level decreases. Yes, true. But Y would also decrease. So, this is wrong. B, subsidize SME, right? Now, when you have subsidy, it means SRAS goes up. So yes, B 唔使諗啦，呢個 B 啦。Now C, salary tax rate. When tax goes up, what does that mean? It means AD goes down, and also AS go down. Both are not what we want, right? So not this answer again. Now, what about D? To raise the expenditure on social welfare, right? Now, when we increase social welfare, AD would go up. Now, when AD go up, price level would go up. So this is wrong. Y go up. Yes, this is true, but we do not want this. So D is also not the answer. Okay, 好嘛? So next one. Now, increase in aggregate output in the long run. Now, long run aggregate output can only be increased by increasing LRAS. Okay, so let's see which one. Tighten regulation on environmental protection. Now, when you tighten regulation, it means firms cannot produce so efficiently. Or 係咪冇咁有效率啦做嘢係咪啊？嗱 therefore you can think of it like production cost goes up, right? Therefore AS would go down, not the things we want. Grants and amnesty to illegal immigrants, right? Now when illegal immigrants are being granted amnesty, it means that they would later become labor 係咪？佢嚟到咁都要做嘢㗎，係咪啊？Labor would go up, therefore LRAS would go up. 2. Ban the importation, it means just the opposite 係咪？唔俾入口，唔俾外傭入口 ，meaning labor goes down, LRAS goes down. Not the answer. So D, right? Now, number 4, to build more international schools. Now, when you see schools and expatriate to work in the country, immediately you know LRAS goes up. 係咪？你一見到呢啲咁嘅重點字眼，你就知LRAS 會 go up 啦，係咪？ Now next one. The government provide cash subsidies for newborn baby from their age to age 10, from their birth to age 10. Now, which of the following diagram best illustrate after 20 years? 20年後會係咩樣啊 ？Okay, now when the baby from 0 to 20, okay, now they would belong in the labor, labor force. Meaning, if we give birth to more baby, labor force would go up, LRAS would go up, right? Now also because the population 生仔啊嘛 population increase, therefore AD would also increases, right? So the only answer that reach both are actually D. Okay, now don't be tricked by B and C. Now B and C are most likely the cases now, especially C. 係咪啊？而家係咪而家個個生仔啦？咁咪會and they also have subsidy, right? When they have subsidy, it means they have more disposable income. Now therefore AD goes up. But if everyone trying to give birth, 好啦，生仔有冇得返工啊 ？No, right? When you need to give birth, you need to take a maternity leave and that kind of thing. So immediately, maybe the labor force will drop by a little bit. So short run may even decrease. Okay, I think this is a very interesting argument, right? 係嘛 But nevertheless, the answer we want is D. Okay, 係嘛？唔算好難啫。Now, 2 more MCs and then we move on to the short question and long questions. Now here, in this diagram, you see both LRAS and AD increases. Now we need to give an explanation why it happened. Now, first of all, a decrease in people's desire to save. Now, when saving decreases, it means your disposable 你唔儲咁多錢係咪即係可以多咗錢用啊 ？Disposable income goes up, therefore AD goes up. Unfortunately, we do not have LRAS going up. So no, 啱咗一個啫。Enhancement in production technology. Now, whenever you see the word technology, you remember is LRAS goes up, right? Now, unfortunately, it doesn't affect AD, so no. Now, C, increase in national income of trading partner. Now, when your partner becomes richer, what happens? They will want to buy more of our goods. Now, therefore, NX, our export, 係咪人哋想要多啲，我哋咪出口多啲咯 ？NX, net export would go up. AD would go up. Unfortunately, also missing LRAS. So the answer is D here. Increase in government subsidy on private research and development. When you see R and D, immediately you remember LRAS increase, right? Now, another thing is, since the government subsidy on private research and development, now when you see private companies, you give them subsidy. Now, therefore, they may want to invest more since they want to get the subsidy, right? 係嘛？佢想賺嗰啲津貼啊嘛。Therefore, they will be more incentivized to put more investment. Now, therefore, AD would also go up, right? 係嘛？ So D is the answer. AD go up, LRAS goes up. 好嘛？ Now, final MC. Now it says certain financial budget, right? It did two things. Now first, basic tax allowance raised. When you have allowance raised, what does that mean? It means AD would go up because more allowance mean less tax. Less tax meaning YD goes up. So AD would go up, right? 係嘛? So AD would go up immediately. A and D can die, right? Now, so also they waive the business registration fee. Now, when they waive 廢除啊 registration fee, does it make sense that SRAS would decrease? 有冇加大到佢哋個生產成本啊? No, it doesn't. So C also does not make sense. So B is the answer. Unfortunately, I'm unable to explain fully how come SRAS doesn't change. Now, in fact, if I have to think, I would be thinking that when we waive business registration fee, we encourage more firms to be set up, right? 係咪你唔使俾登記費，係咪鼓勵多啲 firms 啊? Now, if I have to argue, I will actually say SRAS goes up. But anyway, you know, sometimes in exam, you face questions like this. You do not know the answer, right? 係嘛? But then you know the three of them are obviously wrong. You can, but in the process of elimination, 有時考試係咁噶啦，好嘛? So B is the answer here. All right, now moving on into the short questions and long questions. Now, this question, scheme 6,000, okay? Now, that was some time ago. 係咪嗰陣時派6000蚊啦？阿 Sir 都有攞到啦，你太細個冇攞到啦 ，okay? Now, giving to anyone who is 18 years old or above, right? Now, we need to explain how it will be affected in the long run. Now, obviously, it should worth 5 marks only in nowadays. 嗱，嗰陣時間煲大佢嘅啫。Okay, now note that if they only ask for long run situation, you only need to draw the diagram for long run. What does that mean? We have LRAS here, and then we have our AD. Do we need to draw SRAS? No. Okay, now remember, scheme, this giving cash. When we give more cash, what does that mean? It means people's disposable income will go up. Now, therefore, C would go up, meaning AD would go up. So, let's draw it. This is our price level 1. This is our output 1. Now, AD increases to AD2. You will see price level will actually go up. But what happens to output level? Output level doesn't change. Right? It's exactly the same. Now, therefore, we know that in long run, price level would go up because AD go up. But output level would remain constant because long run output is independent of price level by definition. Okay, by definition. Now you may be thinking, do I need to use those stories to explain, let's say the product market, factor market, inflationary gap, deflationary gap? Do we need those? No, you don't need those, okay? Because they only ask for 5 marks as a long run. Okay, 嗱唔使解釋咁多㗎 unless they specifically ask you to explain the transition from short run to long run. Otherwise, you can just skip the process and say independent of price level. Okay, only capacity constraint. 得唔得 ？Okay, so this one not exactly too difficult. Now what about next one? Next one. Now short run effect. Now this time we are asking for short run. So we only need to draw the short run effect. Upward adjustment of RRR on output and price level. So if you remember, monetary policy, when required reserve ratio increases, money supply would decreases. Money supply decrease, interest rate increase. Now therefore, our C and I would decrease, meaning AD would increase. Now AD increase, in short run, what happens? Price level would go up. Output level also go up. OK， 嗱呢啲背書咁背啊，我唔嘥咁多時間啦。Now the diagram here. This is our price level. This is our Y. So we have our AD1. We have our SRAS. Label them first. This is our price level 1, output level 1. This time we are talking about AD increases. AD increases. Now therefore, you see, price level goes up and output level also goes up, which matches with what we have in here. OK， 好嘛？嗱，我唔嘥時間啦。This is quite easy. I'm not going to waste your time here. Now, next one, extract. Okay. Now we need to discuss the possible effect on output level in the long run as a result of relaxation of one-child policy. Now this is a very old policy, right? Now China used to limit people giving birth no more than one child. Okay, 一孩政策啦。Now obviously this is no longer true, right? Now so relaxation of one-child policy, how would it affect long run? Now I think some of you may be thinking, oh, because of relaxation, our population would go up. Therefore, C would go up, meaning AD go up. Now when AD goes up, Y output level will go up. Now if you answer in this path, you get 1 mark only. Why? Because we are talking about long run. Remember, by definition, if you want long run output level to increase, okay, according to our previous video in part 5, the only one can result in aggregate output increasing, LRAS only. 係嘛？如果我升 AD, if I only increase AD, in long run, it only push up the price level, but not output level. So you only get part of the mark. The correct path, it should be labor supply in the future, okay, in future would go up. Now therefore, our LRAS would go up. Y would also go up. Now this will score you full mark because you're talking about LRAS. By definition, if I want output level to increase in long run, it must be long run AS, not AD. Because you know AD, it only results in inflationary gap. Okay, like we mentioned in last video. 好嘛？ Now, next one. Now next one, you have seen this in, I think in last video. Okay, we are doing the part. We did part C. This time we are doing part B. Okay. Now, you are given a diagram like this. Now, if you remember, this is our Y. Y bigger than YF. Okay, Y bigger than YF. We call this the inflationary gap. 呢個就係 inflationary gap 啦，係咪？ Now it says, he point that can restore to long run equilibrium. Now, how reduction in the number of tourists from mainland can lower output? Reduction of tourists. Okay, reduction of tourists. What does that mean? When tourists goes down, it means our export of service goes down. When export of service goes down, NX goes down. meaning our AD would go down. Therefore, Y would decrease to YF, something like that. OK， 嗱呢個我唔多講啦，係咪？呢啲前面我哋 notes 有㗎啦。What about the diagram? Let's use their diagram. OK， 係咪？我哋用佢哋個 diagram 啦。Now we mentioned AD decrease. Now therefore, we need to drop AD back to here, YF, the output level. Just like this. AD2. Right? So it goes back to here. Y2 goes back to YF. The long run equilibrium. Okay? 得唔得？ Just like this. Nothing too difficult. 嗱，你見啦，佢出嚟吹三幅被啦，開始係咪啊？ Always repeating itself. Now, it says the Macau government cash sharing scheme 咪即係頭先我哋做過嗰條咯，係咪啊 ？Basically, cash. Right? Now, this time, short run. So with more cash, it means we have more disposable income. More disposable income, C would goes up, and then it means AD would go up. Now, therefore, in short run, price level would go up, and also output level would go up in the short run. 係嘛？呢啲背書咁背啦。Now, what about diagram? Diagram. Also, because we are asking for short run, no need to draw long run. Okay, we have AD1, we have SRAS here, we have price level 1, output level 1, and then AD increasing. Price level goes up, output level goes up. Right? 係嘛? Now, after some exercise, you see that, right, in this topic, basically they repeat their policies again and again. Okay? 係嘛? 嗱，你見唔係好難㗎。嗱 how come it's not that difficult? When I say it's difficult, now because the most difficult ones, we need the concepts of chapter 22, but we have not been to chapter 22. So I've just take away those questions that ask for, let's say, budget deficit and those kind of thing. Okay? 我哋未去到啊，所以而家唔算特別難嘅。Now, final two questions, and then we can call it off for this chapter. Right? Now, 2017. Now, this time, a long question. You see, it looks a lot like LS. In fact, this is the question you need to expect to see in your year 2021. 2021年就出呢類題目嘅 ，OK? Very data response, very LS. Now in this question, they talk about Brexit 係咪啊？脱歐啦，英國脱歐，終於脱咗啦，講咗咁耐係咪啊？嗱 here the question referring to the views of this and this guy and this guy. Discuss the effect of Brexit on aggregate output in short run with diagram. Now you see this time is 8 marks. 係咪多咗啊？ No, this is a real 8 marks. It's not easy to score because in order to score these 8 marks, you need to pinpoint the exact point of firm owners and global investor. 嗱，即係咩意思啊？原來脱歐點樣影響個 Y 好多嘢講㗎。Okay? Now in that year, many teachers actually very easily say that in exam they will have Brexit. 係人都估到啦，係咪啊？ And then they have pre-written some essays for their students to recite all the points. And then when the students goes in, they say, oh, 係喎，即係脱歐喎。Then they just recite everything. Obviously, they won't get full mark because we need to refer to this firm owner and investor to answer their exact point. 你要答到佢哋 we are doing data respond. You need to respond to data. Okay, so let's see. The British firm owner, what's their point? Their point is that visa requirement. Now when you say workers, 嗱你一諗到 worker 啊 visa 啊 what does that mean? They say that because of visa requirement, increase in visa requirement, most likely the labor supply would goes down. Most likely. Labor supply goes down, SRAS would go down. This is 2 marks for answering to owner. Same trick. What about the investor? 咁個 investor 講啲咩啊 ？Investor, they claim that political uncertainty increase risk of investment. 你見到 investment 呢啲字啦 ？What does that mean? It means that I would decrease. Therefore, AD would most likely decrease. 係嘛 ？Again, there are many points you can talk about for Brexit, but for this question, you must use these 2 points because they are mentioned by the owner and the investor. Okay, now, therefore, both AD decrease and SRAS decrease. We are certain that output level would decrease in the short run at least. Right? 我哋肯定啦，呢個冇爭議啦。Now, for diagram, it goes like this. Again, mark it down first. 記住啦 ，mark 咗初頭嗰啲先。This is our price level 1. This is our output level 1. And then we have both decrease, right? AD decreases and SRAS decreases also. It goes to here. Output level decreases. Okay, 得唔得啊？嗱 this question, make sure you revise this question and know the skill that you need to specifically answer to their point of view. Okay? 就算你答啱晒脱歐嘅嘢，你唔係答到呢兩個 point 都冇分㗎。Okay? You need to be specific to these 2 points mentioned in the source. Okay? So, final one. Final question. Now finally, here, they say, here, aging population in Hong Kong. Now therefore, they're trying to protect their retirement by giving them some money. The annuity, 係咪而家講嗰啲年金啦？係咪啊 ？Annuity, 係咪 basically annuity, etc. Something like that. Now, obviously, this is a big amount. If every elderly in Hong Kong needs to get this money, it's a big amount. So they're saying, how to finance this scheme? How to support this scheme financially, right? Now, there are 2 proposals. First proposal, in order to finance this scheme, to get the money, increase, now here, let's make it simple. Increase salary tax rates. Okay? 嗱，中間啲字你未識㗎 okay? You haven't studied that. Now, therefore, let's make it simple. Increase salary tax rate. Second, to use their own money. So, how will it affect aggregate output? Now, here, proposal B first. Proposal B, by using the saving of the government. 係嘛? Now, think about it. This money, they're going to pay it anyway. Okay? They're going to pay it anyway. So, if they're using the government's idle money, 本身擺喺庫房嘅, right? How would it affect the economy? No effect, right? There will be no effect. No special effect. Because they just use their money to pay their own money, right? 用自己嘅錢俾翻自己應該俾嘅嘢啫嘛，冇特別啊。嗱 what about proposal A? Now, proposal A, they are taking your money to pay their money, right? 係咪啊？攞咗你嘅錢去俾。And importantly, remember, when salary tax increases, 2 things would happen. Now, first, when salary tax increases, it means your disposable income would decrease. Now, therefore, AD would decrease. On another hand, this would create disincentive effects. Now, therefore, SRAS and LRAS may also decrease. Together, we are quite sure the output level will decrease because both AD and AS decreases. Okay, 得唔得？ So here in this 1 hour, we have looked at some applications of ADAS. Now make sure you fully study this video and the previous video. These two, part 5 and part 6, are the most important of this chapter. Okay? Now, if you lose this chapter, chapter 22, you will struggle in a very bad manner. Okay? So make sure you really take the time to do your study. And finally, everyone, again, stay safe and stay healthy. Okay, so if no further question, I'm going to see you again in next video, next chapter. Okay, bye bye.